So basically, before you even get to that paper, what you do is you get in the truck. When you get in the truck, you need to use 3 points of contact. All right, 2 hands, 1 foot, 2 feet, 1 hand, however it is. You come up in the truck with 3 points of contact. Once you get in the truck, what you're going to do, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to check your brakes to make sure your brakes are on. You're going to make sure that your gear shift's in neutral. All right. From there, what I go to is what I call my 4 safeties, and they are fuses, my fire extinguisher, my seat belt, and my reflective triangles, which are back here underneath that seat. So, starting with my seat belt, I'm going to pull my seat belt out. I'm going to look at my seat belt. I'm going to make sure it's not frayed or tore. I'm going to latch it, and I'm going to unlatch it. All right. So my seat belt works. Then I'm going to go to my fire extinguisher, which my fire extinguisher is right here beside me. You see it when you get in. I want to make sure that my fire extinguisher is in the proper range. It's fully charged. You want to make sure your fire extinguisher is ABC rated, and you want to make sure that the pin is in so it doesn't accidentally discharge. All right, that's your second safety. Going to your third safety are your fuses. The fuses are up here. They're replacement fuses. Your fuse box is in here. You want to have 1 amp fuse for every replacement. So in other words, you want to make sure that you have, if you have 10 amp fuses, you want to have at least one 10 amp replacement fuse. So on with 15 amp, 10 amp, 5 amp, whatever. All right, so 1 amp fuse for every replacement, or 1 replacement for every amp. All right, the next safety is my reflective triangles that are back here underneath the seat in the red box. There's 3 reflective triangles out there, and they're back here underneath the seat. So those are my 4 safeties. So the next thing I'm going to go to is, it's just like reading a book. You start at the top, go to the bottom, left to right. So what do I see right in front of me? My windshield. So what I say to my windshield is properly mounted and secure. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. My windshield is clear of any illegal stickers, and it is clean. From my windshield, what else is in front of me? I have my windshield wipers. My windshield wipers are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. My windshield wipers are made out of rubber. There can be no abrasions, bubbles, cuts, or dry rot on the rubber, and the windshield wipers are firmly against the window. While I'm still at my windshield, I'm going to come to my inspection sticker. I want to make sure my inspection sticker is current and up to date. All right, done with my windshield. Now I come back over here to the left, and I can go to 1 or 2 places. I can go to my windows, or I can go to my mirrors. I'll go to my windows since they're right here. So I have my window. I have my left and my right window. They are properly mounted, secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. The seal is intact on both windows. I can turn my key forward, turn the fan down. So make sure that one goes up and down. That one also goes up and down. And there are no illegal stickers blocking my view on the windows. Then I go out to my mirrors, my left and right mirrors. They are properly mounted, secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. My mirrors are clean and free of any illegal stickers, and they are adjusted for me. All right, moving back in. Well, I did my windows, I did my mirrors, I did my windshield. Now I'm going to come down to this section of the dash right here, the black section of the dash. All right, couple gauges that you want to talk about are your oil pressure gauge and your volt gauge and your temperature gauge. To find your volt gauge, you hit this ESC button right here. It brings up our volts. All right, our volts are 12.4 right now. They should be between 12 and 15. All right, moving up to our temperature gauge. Our temperature gauge should be in operating range. You don't have to state a temperature or anything, just operating range. Same with our oil pressure. Our oil pressure should be within operating range. Coming across, tachometer, speedometer, coming across here. These are our air tanks right here. I want to make sure that both air tanks, my front and rear air tank, are within operating range. And our air governor shuts off between 120 and 140. On this truck, it happens to be 125. All right, moving across, again, I have my brakes. Coming across here, I don't have to talk about anything else, so I come back over to my left. All right, come over to my left. I want to talk about, I'm going to go to the wood grain section. All right, so over here, I want to check my flashers. I want to make sure my indicators in the dash are working. All right, they are working. Come across, I'm going to go to my turn signals. I want to make sure the indicators for my turn signals. There's my left turn signal. My right turn signal indicator is working. All right, coming across again, I'm going to come to my headlights. I'm going to turn my headlights on. I want to make sure when I turn my headlights on, I look to the examiner and I say, this is where I would ask you to come out and help me check all my lights. High beam, low beam, left turn signal, right turn signal, 4 ways, and brake lights. All right, shut that off. Come across, really don't have to do nothing here. Come to your heater. Well, obviously you want to make sure your heater works. So my fan is working. You want to reach up here, make sure the defrost is working. You want to put it down on the floor. You want to make sure that the floor vent's working, which they are. And obviously the fan's working because you can hear it running. All right, coming across, really nothing else I got to worry about here. I'm going to come back over. I come back over to this thing right here, my steering wheel. My steering wheel should have no more than 2 inches of play in it. My steering wheel also has my city horn, my air horn. All right. Also with my city horn, with my steering wheel, I have my wipers. I want to make sure that my wipers work, and they do on both speeds, and I can squirt washer fluid. All right, and they work. Shut my wipers back off, and they will go. Okay, now that's pretty much it for your in-cab right here as far as your gauges and stuff. Now I'm going to go to that sheet of paper. That sheet of paper. So the first thing I'm going to look at before I start on my air brake check is I am going to look at this gauges right here. I want to make sure that this gauge right here is below 100 pounds. That gauge right there, that white mark right there is 100 pounds. If it's not down below 100 pounds, I'm going to pump the brake once or twice just to get it down below 100 pounds. All right. So now what I'm going to do is what they call a safe start. Make sure I am in neutral, clutch the whole way to the floor, start the truck. Again, making sure I'm in neutral again, letting out on the clutch easy. So now what I'm going to do, since I pumped the brakes a little bit, it's down below 100, the air compressor should kick in. So I should build air. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build air up to 125 pounds to where my air governor will shut off. So I'm going to give a little throttle. And what you do is you basically sit here and watch it move. And it's moving. So the air pump is working. So I'm going to sit here. I can put my window down if I want. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen for, they call it the sneeze of the air governor. You guys all heard it. The sneeze of the air governor. So that should come on about 125 pounds. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch. Watch and listen. Okay, there it sneezed. Okay, so now I'm ready to start my test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the low gear. So I'm going to clutch the whole way in, and I'm going to put it in first gear. If it doesn't want to go in, just let up on the clutch a little bit, it'll fall in. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the truck off. All right, let up on the clutch, turn the key back on, put my window back up. All right, I'm in gear. I have full pressure. Now I'm going to release my brakes because it's not going to roll anywhere because I have it in gear. All right. Release the truck brakes. Now I'm going to release the trailer brakes. All right. Remember to turn this key back on. All right. It's going to feel like you're going to roll them out, but you don't. Keys on. So now what I'm going to do, this is called your static brake test. All right. So I'm going to sit here for 1 minute. And I'm going to count, and I'm going to watch this gauge. And for my static brake test, I should lose no more than 3 pounds of air in 1 minute in a combination truck, or if I was in a straight truck, I should lose no more than 2 pounds of air in 1 minute. So I'm going to sit here and do absolutely nothing. Truck's in gear, keys on, brakes are off. I'm going to sit here for 1 minute, and I'm going to watch my gauge. And while you're sitting here, you can pretend like you're counting to 1 minute. He's probably not going to have you sit and wait the whole minute. All right. So you'll probably sit here about 10 seconds and he'll say, okay, move on. So my next, I'll move this up out of the way a little bit. My next step is my applied brake pressure. So what that is I'm going to apply force to my brake pedal, and I should lose no more than 4 pounds of air in 1 minute in a combination, and no more than 3 pounds in a straight truck. So I'm going to put pressure on the brake, and I'm just going to hold it, and I'm going to watch these 2 gauges, and I'm going to count to a minute and make sure that I don't lose no more than 4 pounds air. I'm going to sit here, la-di-da-di-da. He's going to make you sit here for a little bit. Pretend like you're counting. Okay, he's gonna say, okay, the minute's up. Minute's up. I didn't lose 4 pounds of air if I was in a combination truck, or if I was in a straight truck, I didn't lose 3. So you let off the brake. My next step is my low air warning device, which is the lights and alarm. All right. This truck, the alarm doesn't come on until you start the truck. When the truck's running, the alarm will come on. The lights will come on. You'll see a red triangle here and a red light here. I'm gonna fan it down to around 60 pounds. That's where your low air warning light comes on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pump the brakes, making sure your key is on at this point. Make sure that key's on. Make sure this yellow light's on. This little guy with the seatbelt thing is something. Make sure that key's on. Reach down and turn it. Make sure it's on. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fan the brake till that light comes on. See the lights starting to flash? There they are. All right. There's that light. There's that light. That's your low air warning light. The gauges are going to be there. Sometimes a lot of them, they don't start. This is at 80 pound right now. They come on, but that's fine. Just make sure you go down to your warning light comes on. All right. My next step is I'm going to fan my brakes down to where my emergency brakes come on. My emergency brakes come on between 20 to 40 or 40 to 20 pound. All right. Both these buttons will pop. So I'm gonna fan my brakes down till both those buttons pop, and it should be between 40 and 20 pound. Watch the buttons, not the gauge, because you wanna make sure both buttons pop. And a lot of times, that one already popped. Did you see it? And I gotta keep pumping till this one. Don't touch them, don't pull them, just keep pumping. And boom, there it popped. Okay, so my emergency brakes are working. My gauge says I'm at about 40 pounds, so we're about where we should be. All right, my next step is I'm out of air. So now I gotta build the truck up with air. So another safe start, clutch in, neutral, safe start. Okay, my ABS light is right there. It came on and went off. If my trailer was equipped with ABS, I could look in the mirror and that should go off within 90 seconds. There's your low air warning alarm right there. So what you do now is you just give a little bit of throttle, run it up to about 1,400 RPMs. All right, we're building air now. So what we're gonna do is, what I'm gonna do is, from 85 pound to 100, it should take no longer than 45 seconds. So when this gauge gets down just below 90 right here, would be 85 pound. I'm gonna time it to 100 PSI, which is this line right there. And it should take no longer than 45 seconds at operating RPM range. I'm at 1,500, which is basically operating RPM range. I'm gonna wait till we get to 85 pound, and I'm gonna count to 100 and see how long, or I'm gonna count up till it hits 100 and see how many seconds it takes. And it usually takes anywhere between 17 and 22 seconds. Okay, there my low air warning light went off. An alarm, and I'd say there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. You're at 100 pound now, about 21 seconds, all right? So I'm gonna continue building the air up till my tanks are full, till I hear my governor sneeze, and that should be at about 100, 125 pounds, and my air governor will sneeze. So for my next test, you're going to do the tug test. What your tug test consists of are, you want to make sure that your tractor brake is working. You want to make sure that your trailer brakes are working. So I usually do my tractor brake first. So what I do is select the low gear, which I'm going to do second gear. So basically, with the resting position, the gear shifts straight back. I'm going to release my tractor brake. They give it a second for the air to come out. and then I'm just going to gently tug against it. I released my trailer brake. I'm testing my tractor brake, so I released my trailer brake, and this is just the brakes on the tractor. Feel how they're holding me, they don't want me to go. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reapply my trailer brakes, and I'm going to release my tractor brakes. Pushing in to release them, I'm checking to make sure that my trailer brakes are working. So they're on, I'm going to make sure that my trailer brakes are going to hold me. They don't want me to go nowhere, so the trailer brakes are holding me. My next step is to release both brakes. So I'm both released. I'm going to roll here if I don't put my foot on the brake. I'm still in second gear. I'm going to check my service brake, which is your foot brake. I'm going to roll forward 5 miles an hour, roughly 5 miles an hour. Both hands on the steering wheel. Come to a stop. I want to make sure the truck comes to a smooth stop, doesn't pull left or right. So cut off the brake, let it roll a little bit. Clutch in and whoop. Come to a complete stop, then pull left or right, neutral, done. It's word for word right off of you. Follow me, it's word for word right off of that.